This is George. He's a 7-year-old neutered male basset hound cross who came in the day after Christmas, suddenly unable to stand or walk. George also has no voluntary control of his urinary bladder and no use of his tail. My wife, Dr. Ann, is a certified veterinary acupuncturist, and she found trigger points between lumbar vertebrae 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Digital x-rays of the spine, pelvis, hind legs were unremarkable. You can see here that pressure placed on his bladder causes him to urinate. He has no voluntary control. Our protocols for treating intervertebral disc disease include Western-style and herbal medications, acupuncture treatments, therapeutic laser treatments, and physical therapy. Here George's owner is sitting with him, monitoring the acupuncture treatment. You can see that he's connected to the acupunctoscope. This treatment is being conducted on a raised deck in one of our large dog runs due to George's immobility, his incontinence, and his large size. Here our staff is working with George. You can see that he can barely support any weight at all on his hind legs and that he cannot place either hind foot voluntarily. You can see that he also continues to have no voluntary control over his tail. Our staff has continued to work with George, spending a lot of time and effort to try and help him. And you can see we have a small breakthrough right here. He places his foot for the first time, his right hind foot. There it is. Here we are in the dog runs again. That floor is not very slick. It has a good surface for walking. We can see that George now is actually able to stand for a few moments on his hind legs, still has no use of his tail, and cannot walk. We are determined that George is going to walk again. We are now 4 weeks out from the original problem, and George stands up for the first time. Still has a lot of difficulty walking, but he actually did gain his feet on his own. Here we are 3 days later, and George is starting to walk on his own. He's wobbly, but he's doing it all by himself. And he is also starting to be able to wag his tail. Now this is a few days later, a little over a month from the original onset, and George is being reunited with his family and going back home today. George's ability to walk is far from perfect, but we've gotten to the point where his owners can give medication and conduct physical therapy at home. George has also regained voluntary control of urination so that it's not so hard to have him in the house. And here's George 1 week later, 5 weeks after the original problem started, and 1 week after being discharged. He came back for another acupuncture treatment. He'll never be able to walk normally, but he's doing extremely well.
Good dog. Okay, that's pretty good.
We've come a long way from those dark days, but it looked like maybe there was no hope or reason to continue. Here our technician is reviewing some physical therapy techniques with the owners that they can do at home. Here we are 3 months later. George is bounding around a happy dog out on a beautiful summer day. And here he is urinating voluntarily, something that seemed like an impossibility not that long ago. here is George almost exactly 1 year later. He came in to visit and just show us how well he's doing. He has continued to have use of his tail, his hind legs, and he has control of his urinary bladder. George is one happy and lucky boy living a great life. A lot of people would have given up on him, but his owners and our staff stayed with him. And we are rewarded with this smile.